Hey, good evening, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping, where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. Week number 35 of the racing season, and well, we had such a good time and a good day at Saratoga last week that we just stayed. We're still at Saratoga Racetrack in Saratoga Springs, New York. It's our last track, or our last trip, I should say, to the venerable track, and it's for Woodward Stakes Day. The pick four starts in race 9 and ends in race 12. All stakes in the pick four on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. Folks, our first handicapper, and he's joining us from his home in Staten Island, New York, Ray Torado, fresh off your visit to upstate New York. How are you doing, my friend?
Yes, I'm doing good. Had a nice visit, won some money, got some sun. It was a beautiful day. And guys, when you go there, you gotta check out the Walk of Fame. It's really nice.
Just tempt us, why don't you, Ray? Our West Coast handicapper, let me introduce him here. He is from Temecula, California. Joe English, how have you been since I talked to you last week?
Not too bad, Rich. How's everything going with you guys?
Good.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's always it's a pleasure, but it's a little bit of a downer at the end of the summer when they're going to close down both Delmar and Saratoga at the same time. I don't know if you guys know this. We've actually handicapped Saratoga now on the show for this summer. It was 6 times this summer that it made it onto the show this summer.
6 out of how many weeks?
Right.
7 or 8? Is it 7? I think it's 7 weeks.
Yeah, I know, like either 7 or 8 weeks, but
yeah.
All right. So again, last week was Saratoga Racetrack. That was for the Travers Stakes, and once again we hit our pick four. So a little virtual high five there for the Three Broke Guys. It was a approximately $230 payout for our 50-cent wager. Was not as important as the fact that we hit back-to-back pick fours for the first time since we started this show. We are now 2 for 14 on the second half of the year. So working our way up there. I've got a brief weather update from Saratoga Springs, New York. You know what? And before I go off, let me just point out, I'm going to give credit here to Ray Torado. Ray, you were the lone guy there on Sadler's Joy last week, and I think Sadler's Joy was the one that keyed our pick for. Nice 7-to-1 shot there. So,
Thank you.
I do have a weather update here. Yeah, nice one. I've got a weather update from Saratoga Springs, New York. The forecast for Saturday calls for a few passing clouds. Otherwise, it's generally sunny. The high is 71 degrees. The winds are light and variable. There is a 10% chance of rain. I will let you know, for those of you who are wondering what happened. At the end of last week's show, we mentioned that we were going to be handicapping from Kentucky Downs in Franklin, Kentucky. We chose to wait and hold off for one more week. They've got a very good card next Saturday as well for Kentucky Downs, as well as the fact that Hurricane Harvey, or Tropical Storm Harvey now, I guess as it is, was working its way across Kentucky. We weren't sure if the turf racing was going to be secure for this weekend, so prayers out there for everybody in Houston and for everybody who's gone through all the tragedy of that storm. We have a total of 12 races. There are 4 stakes on tap for Saturday, and for today we are focused on the pick 4. It begins in race number 9 and concludes in race number 12. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded, the outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick 4 post time.
Let's go.
Let's go.
3-peat.
Pat Riley, you owe Pat Riley money now. Next time you go to Florida, he's going to look for you.
He's got that copyrighted.
And by the way, everybody, Kentucky Downs did cancel tomorrow. Actually, not cancel. They postponed. Their opening day is now Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So if your PPs are good, they're not going to redraw the races. So if you got your PPs for tomorrow, you're fine, no worries. But their opening day is now Wednesday instead of tomorrow.
Perfect. Race number 9. The approximate post time is 5:36 p.m. Eastern. They are going 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. It's the Saratoga Stakes. Grade 3. Purse is $300,000 to 3-year-olds. Only 9 starters, and your 8-5 morning line favorite is in post number 4. It's Bricks and Mortar, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Joel Rosario. Inaugurated in 1901, the race is named for the village of Saratoga in Clinton County, New York, in the Adirondack Mountains. Joe, you were up first on the opening leg of the pick 4, and you know what? just don't forget the most recent addition to our show.
No, don't worry. I'm not going to forget him. Not only am I not going to forget him, I had a chance to watch the Hall of Fame Stakes that was run earlier this meet at Saratoga, and Bricks and Mortar impressed me. It doesn't matter to me what happens in the rest of this race. Yoshida's is third off a mini freshening. I don't see Yoshida being able to improve that much, but I got to watch two videos. One is I got to watch the actual replay of Bricks and Mortar's last race in the Hall of Fame, and he won by 3/4 of a length, but he couldn't have done it more easily. He's got a very quick turn of foot. They finished that last 5/16 in 27-4. So they were motoring down the lane. This guy can move. He's got a real quick turn of foot. And the other video I watched Chad Brown talk to Richard Migliore on XBTV about how well the horse was doing. He was going to wait another week or two. I think he was going to wait for the Hill Prince down at Belmont, but he said the horse is just doing so well that he's going to run the horse. So I'm going to trust Chad Brown and trust my eye test. I just hope the 1 1/8 is not an issue. Chad Brown in the video didn't seem to think it would be an issue. So I'm going with Bricks and Mortar to go 5 for 5, and I'm singling the 8-5 favorite. Yeah, maybe that's a chalk-eating weasel, but I'm at least taking a stand that he's going to win the race regardless of what happens around him. So just Bricks and Mortar for me. The 4 is a single for me on the pick 4 to start the sequence. So, Ray, I will pass the baton to you. I know he's on your ticket, but I know you have others that you wanted to talk about. So,
yes, he'll be on my ticket. But I'm just based on the sequence of this pick 4 with the short fields and next 2 races. I'm gonna try and include a few long shots in my pick 4. Just hoping they come in. We got number 9, Rocketry, Jose Ortiz, and Jimmy Jerkins. This horse, he's a winner at longer distance. And with some racing luck, he should have won his last 4. He should handle the step up here. Don't know if he wants to be that far back, but he has handled closing from far back on the turf before. So, we give him a shot here. He's got some good figures. He did win it, and he's stepping up. So, he's coming in for allowance races. Master Plan, number 3, 10-1, Castellano Pletcher. Probably will get bet down a little bit because of the connections. But this horse is proven at the distance. He was a good second to Frost Morn. He's got a good record, 3 for 8 with 2 seconds and a third. He did win in the UAE Derby to Thunder Snow, so he did get the distance, but now he's on turf now. And, Pletcher and Chad Brown, they're on the high pursuit of the Trails title, so he's throwing all his bullets out. Bricks and Mortar, number 4, what can you say? It's 4 for 4, won the Middle Stakes, Hall of Fame Stakes. He's got a nice win here, and could put him in very easily right into a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf race. And this horse rates nicely and finishes well. Post 4 is just ideal for him. He'll be coming fast, like Joe said. They ran home so fast last time, and he looked like he was just eased up, so he's riding hard. There are a few other horses I'll talk about later on, but for me, it's a 9, the 3, and the 4. Rich, what do you think about the Saratoga Stakes? Oh, we got a bobblehead on the grass.
There we go. I can't believe we have to ask. No, I went Bricks and Mortar. I've learned better than to mess with an unbeaten horse, let alone an unbeaten Chad Brown horse. Joe, I bet him on the that was actually I had circled the 4-1 odds that day. That was one of those win get your money back days, and so I was able to capitalize on that 4-1 price. And I actually singled Bricks and Mortar as well. I put Yoshida underneath just in case something happens and Bricks and Mortar has to scratch tomorrow for whatever reason. So the 2 would be my backup pick, but I also singled the Chad Brown horse, Bricks and Mortar. And I'll just go ahead and put myself back up there. Hi, everybody. All right, and we are going to go ahead and we will move along. If I believe I got everybody's picks correctly, Joe and I both singled the 4, and Ray, you have the 9, the 3, and the 4. Okay, so it is race number 10, and this is 7 furlongs. It is the Spinaway Stakes. It is a Grade 1. Purse is $350,000 for filly 2-year-olds. Win and you are in. The winner of the Spinaway Stakes will punch her ticket to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in Del Mar, California. 5 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 1. Separation of Powers, trained by Chad Brown and ridden by Jose Ortiz, is 6-5 on the morning line at Saratoga. Since its inception in 1881, the Spinaway has been considered one of the premier races in the country for 2-year-old fillies. Ray, you are up on the co-feature. Could we have a potential Kentucky Oaks horse in this classy field?
Very possible. We got a couple of his. This is the it's like a heavyweight match. Brown versus Pletcher. I did go with the 4, Pure Silver. You got Johnny V and Pletcher. This is a New York bred. It's 3 for 3. Hasn't been headed yet. The longer they got, the more the horse opened up. Won by 9 last time. Adirondack and Open Company. So let's see if she, if anything, she might be behind horses today. They might try and rate her. Depends how the 1 breaks. Separation Powers. This horse broke his maiden very handily by 11. Get some strong workouts. Facing winners for the first time. That's usually I'm a little leery of that. Facing winners, stake race. So, this horse could be the real deal. But I'm gonna take a stand here. I'm gonna go with the 4. I'm gonna single the 4, Pure Silver. I'm building my ticket around that. So, Joe, what do you think about Spinaway?
Tough race. Based on the fact that I have 2 singles in the sequence, and with young horses, as much as you can look at past performances, this is also the first time that any of these horses are traveling 7 furlongs. So that's got to factor in whether they break well or not. Again, like Ray was talking about separation of powers. He broke from the, obviously she broke from the rail last time. And just looking at that past performance, it didn't look like it hampered her at all. And to me, she looks even better bred to handle longer distances, being out of Candy Ride by an Empire Maker mare. To me, if there's a Kentucky Oaks winner in this race, I'm thinking it's more separation of powers than Pure Silver, based on the sire stats. Pure Silver is built more looks more like a sprinter, at least for the long term. So, I mean, like I said, answering Rich's question, if I had to say, I would say separation of powers would be the Oaks horse. But based on the fact that I already singled in 1 race and I've got another single coming up, in case anybody was not paying attention, I would go 4 deep in here. I would use the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Not sure exactly what Obvious 2 is doing in this spot. I guess 5th money isn't all that bad when you think about it. It is a Grade 1, and if something happens to 2 of them, maybe she gets a clunk up 3rd. Who knows? That would be nice for breeding purposes down the road to be, hey, Grade 1 placed, even though it's at 2, and it would be because of God forbid some catastrophe. But to me, you can't throw out. Rudy Rodriguez doesn't usually excel at Saratoga. He's usually more an aqueduct kind of guy. But he's capable of winning with this in this horse, and he gets Irad Ortiz, who's obviously battling his brother for leading jockey. Jose's up by 5, but we'll see what happens. And I don't know that you can underestimate Graham Motion with Maya Malibu, another who looks like she might be bred better for the longer distance in this race. Obviously, and I always have an affinity for horses that come from Delaware. Because for whatever reason, every time I see it, horses that run at Delaware seem to run lights out the next time out, wherever it is they show up. So I'm not going to throw out Maya Malibu either. On top, my 2 real A's, I would be 1 and the 4, but on my ticket, I would use the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Again, it's to me, it may be a very formful sequence, unfortunately. But this is a spot with the 2-year-old fillies that, lots of things can happen. And being that there's only 5 of them, to be honest, I might even put in obvious 2 for just for the fact that if the horse happens to run the best race of her life or the best race she'll ever run, I wouldn't want her to knock me out of the pick 4, being 4 deep. Why couldn't you go 5 deep? Okay, that makes too much sense to not do it. But again, it would be the 1 and the 4. There would be my top choices, but I can't disregard the 3 and the 5. So I would go 4 deep myself. So 1 and 4, I guess, in that order for me. Rich, anything to add on the spinaway? It's a pretty short field, but it looks pretty competitive to me.
No, not really at all. My top pick was the 1, so I did like the 1 a little bit here with Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz. I'm not going to bring the jaw back after this one, but that maiden score was very impressive at Saratoga, and I think I was gambling that day over at that Lake Elsinore racetrack, so I think I saw that horse. And I like the 3. I like Lady Ivanka. And Ray, I would have bet money that you would have picked this horse today. I swear to God, when I was handicapping, Ray's going to pick a Rudy Rod horse. And Pure Silver. So I actually just went 1, 3, 4. Now listening to Joe, I've got to put the 5 on there as well, hearing that. But at least the 1, 3, 4 were my 8 picks for this particular race. I've got Joe with 1, 3, 4, 5. And I've got Ray with just the 4. To give me a moment to recompose myself, knowing that Ray just singled in that race. Okay, here we go. And I will come on back to you guys. All right. And we are moving along to this race number 11. They are going 1 mile and 1/8 on the main track. This is the Woodward Stakes, presented by Naira Bets. Grade 1, the purse is $750,000 for 3-year-olds and upward. 5 starters, and your money line favorite at 2 to 5 is in post number 2, Gunrunner, trained by Steve Osmussen and ridden by Florin Giroux. All right, guys. Kelso, the only 5-time horse of the year in American history, won 3 consecutive renewals of this race between 1961 and 1963. In 1973, Secretariat lost the Woodward to Prove Out, who set the stakes record for the then current distance of 1.5 miles. The next year, Forgo began a 4-year win streak. Triple Crown winners Seattle Slew and Affirmed also won the race during the 1970s. In 2009, at age 3, Rachel Alexandra became the first female to win the Woodward. So that's a lot of history tied to this race. Help us make a little history by 3-peating on our pick 4.
Okay, I'll do my best. To me, this one's simple. You got to bet Gunrunner until he gets beat. He's in the best form of his life. Asmussen's not going to waste the bullet if he doesn't think the horse is ready. I don't know that there's going to be much competition. There have been a couple other stakes winners in the field. Actually, when I look at it, now that I'm looking at it, Rally Cry won the restricted Alydar Stakes at Saratoga earlier in the meet, and War Story won the Brooklyn and the Queens County Handicap at the distance, but that's it. Neolithics never won a stake race, despite finishing 3rd behind some horse named Arrogate and Shaman Ghost in the Pegasus World Cup, but that's been his highest moment so far. I just don't know what the pace of this race is going to be. I would assume Rally Cry is going to try and go to the lead, but I don't think Gunrunner is going to let him go. I think Gunrunner will sit the trip, and if they let Gunrunner go and decide, hey, we'll try and run for second, again, graded placing in a grade 1, Gunrunner is going to run these horses off their feet. I see speed figures for other horses they're comparable to Gunrunners. But again, to me, they've got to beat Gunrunner, and I don't know that either of the 2 other likeliest winners are good enough to do it. So to me, I'll take the free square. It's a chalky sequence for me. So Gunrunner all by himself, and just like and I'm assuming it'll be just that way at the finish line, just like he is on my pick 4 ticket. So, Ray, it's Gunrunner to me, and he's going to have to get beat.
Very good. I had a
You
choice
like
here.
that analysis, really? I went out on a limb, didn't I?
You, awesome. No, actually, I had a choice here, in race 10, to go too deep, and I chose to go one deep because here I want to go too deep. And I'm thinking, going on, of course, could be my ticket. How could you? He's 3 out of 4 this year. I mean, only losing to Arrogate, and he's like you say, he's in the best form of his life, and he's probably going to be on the lead. And he's probably going to set the pace and draw off, and make a race of it, and Mile 8 usually favors speed, and he'll be up there. But I'm gonna take a shot also with number 1, Neolithic. He's been, plodding home third. The Pegasus, the Dubai. They tried something different with him last time, coming off the pace on 7 furlongs. And what really made me want to just include him on my ticket was a guy named Jose Ortiz. Pletcher's putting Ortiz on him. Nothing wrong with Johnny Velasquez, but I think he wants to have a little different look here, and maybe since Ortiz is so hot and this meet, he's gonna try and just use him, and let's see what happens. It's a chance, 6 to 1, might be around that price. He might be 4 to 1, who knows? But he's trying to something different. They came off the pace last time. Maybe they're gonna try and save ground, stay in the rail, and maybe sit third. If the rail opens up, try and go that way. If he has enough, he might get him. So it's what horse racing is about. Take a chance, use a hot jockey, and I'll take a chance too. But so I'll go 1-2, and hoping the one gets up for a better price, and I'll pick for a ticket, and it'll be 1-2 for me. It's a good race. It's we got some other horses here, but the Rally Cry is more, I think grade 2 with Material and the distance. He did run well last time, but there's good money for the places, and they give it a shot there. If something happens, Mr. Break, whatever, he should be up there too. So, and he got War Story too, been running against the grade 1. So, but for me, 1-2 should be up there on top. Rich.
Nah. I've been touting Gunrunner all year. I believe he's the best older horse, or the best horse of the older division. Maybe not even arrogant with standing now after what we've seen these last 2 times over here at Del Mar. He's only got one loss so far this year in 2017. It was to Arrogate. It was over in Dubai. It was a freakish defeat. Other than that, he's been just at the top of his game. He's been at the top of the class. And you have heard it here on this show because a couple of those days, that Oakland Park day back in February, I remember remarking about him back in June at Churchill Downs when we brought up at the Stephen Foster Handicap that it was an East Coast horse who had kind of wormed his way into my heart. So I singled Gunrunner here. Joe singled Gunrunner here. Ray's got Gunrunner on his ticket, but he's also got the 1, Neolithic. So I'm going to go ahead and come on back to you guys. And we'll move along to the finale. All right, and this is race number 12. It is going 1 mile and 3/8 on the inner turf. It's the Glens Falls Stakes. Grade 3, the purse is $200,000. Inner turf for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. 9 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 4. War Flag, trained by Shug McGahee and ridden by Jose Ortiz. The race is named for the nearby town of Glens Falls, New York. Ray, you're up in the finale. What can you tell me about Glens Falls, New York? Or at the very least, what do you know about the Glens Falls Stakes?
Glen Falls? I've never been there, but it's probably it's probably on a mountain. We get some falls of water, I guess. I don't know. It's close to 87, maybe.
We got Saranic earlier. We got
when I go up there, I hit Route 87. I go to exit 9, and I go to the track, and on the back I make a U-turn. I go down 87 south, and I go home. That's as much as I know about up there, Saratoga. 87 could go to Montreal, sure, yeah, of course, yeah. All right. In this race, um, we have 9 horses, and I'm gonna play all 9. But I'll give you announced a few of them that I do think can win. Number 8, Harmonize, Giant V and Billy Mott. My first 2 picks are actually drop downs from grade 1s. Harmonize dropping for grade 1 to Diana, just a game, the miles. Stretches out to 11 furlongs. Should be close with the slower pace in this marathon. So you can get a good trip. Should have enough in the tank to kick in. It's 11 furlongs, long race. So a lot can happen. I do like number 7, Sarandia, Junior Alvarado and Shurgan.
Yeah.
This horse dropping from Belly D with grade 1. What I like about this horse is second time in the U.S., so adapt to the surroundings. This horse did win 2 races in Germany at the distance, and so give it a shot. Mr. Stock.
Are you still there?
Solano and Mike Poopy.
No.
That horse won the race. We got number 2, Lottie, 6-1, with Rosario and Grand Motion. He was second by half, and he got Somersault with Paco Lopez, third by 3/4. Then we got War Flag. So those 3 horses were like well bunched up in the wire stake, so we're gonna include those. Then we got War Flag, and this horse gave Wakila all she could handle in the matchmaker stakes at Monmouth. I think that wasn't good for us at that day, if I remember. That was not a good result. No, it wasn't. This horse going longer, so we'll give it a shot. Jose Ortiz is hot. So 8, 7, 6, 2, 3, 4. But I'm hitting the all button, so I'm not gonna worry about it. If I'm alive, I'm hitting the pick 4. So, Joe.
We're in agreement on the top 2. I looked at Harmonize, and I saw a lot of the same things that you saw, but I also looked at the last look. Rich, pull up Harmonize's PPs. I want you to underline the last 3 winners of the last 3 races that Harmonize has run. Lady Eli, Antono, and Roca Rojo. What do they have in common? 2 things. One, they all ran behind. Lady Eli won the stake last week, and Antono and Roca Rojo were in that field. The other thing they have in common is they are all trained by Chad Brown. And I want you to also glance through the PPs while you have a chance. This is a turf stake without a Chad Brown runner. How many times could you have said that at Saratoga this meet? My guess is you probably count them on less than one hand. And you might have fingers left over if you had to. So this horse definitely gets some class relief. And like you were talking about with Johnny V staying on, the fact that Pletcher's got a horse in this race and Johnny V's not on him and he's staying on Harmonize to ride for Bill Mott, that tells me a little something. I think Johnny V thinks that this horse has a real good shot to win this on the class drop. And I like Sarandia also because, Ray, you said that she'd won 2 races at Germany at the distance. I think we need to have your vision checked. Go through the PPs. She's won 5 races at 1 mile and 3/8.
Oh,
in Germany.
I just saw the last 2. Yeah. Okay.
the last two before the Arlington race, and 3 earlier ones in 2016. So obviously she likes the distance, and it makes me think because Sarandia was running in 1 mile and 3/16 race. She finished 6th by 2.5 lengths behind Desita in a race that was too short. They needed to run another 3/16 of a mile to get to her optimum distance. So she gets a class drop. Here's the thing, and to be honest with you, I would probably single her if she was getting Lasix today for the first time, but she's not. And this field, like Ray was saying, it's pretty competitive. I could make a case for at least 7 of the runners in here. The 3 horses from the wire ran, they ran pretty close together. I'm not sure you could really separate them. Sort of like we don't separate Chad Browns or Bob Bafferts or Todd Pletchers or whatever it is. Those three horses ran so close together that if you like one, you almost have to like the other two.
Yeah.
So again, you could any one of say 7 could win this race. So if I thought there was a chance that it would pay well enough, my ticket would probably be single Bricks and Mortar, all in the Spinaway, single Gun Runner, and all in the Glens Falls. The problem is, Bricks and Mortar is probably going to be closer to 6-5. Gun Runner is probably going to be closer to 1-5. And if the two other favorites come in, I could play that $22.50 ticket, and I may lose money, given the circumstances. So again, it's a really formful sequence for me. I would just be playing the other two races, hoping that long shots would come in, and I could maybe get $100 payout somehow. But if the two favorites win in the two races that I think they're going to win, and one of the favorites wins in the Spinaway, this pick 4 is not going to pay very much at all. So try to minimize your investment as much as you can. So again, 8-7 on top for me in this spot. But like Ray was saying, I would pretty much play everybody if I could afford to do it, and I probably can. Rich?
I'm in the same boat. I'm going to fire up Ray's Keno machine. I actually did like the favorite. War Flag was my top pick in this one. Shug McCahey and Jose Ortiz. I love that effort there in the matchmaker, although I was screaming and crying at the time. But I thought War Flag actually looked much the best that day, and was going to nail Wakila right there at the very end. So I had the favorite. Unfortunately, with as much chalk as I had already eaten, I still couldn't stay away from the chalk here in what is undoubtedly a very competitive race. So since I've got quite a few bullets I can fire in this particular gun, at this point in the season, like that, I was thinking that I was probably going to go something along the lines of 2, 3, 4. I didn't know if I would use the 5, but then 6, 7, 8. So. And I will go ahead and come back, and you guys can watch us as we go ahead and hash out our pick 4 ticket.
About leaving the 5 and the 9 out, but then, like Joe says, if you leave them out and they win, you are.
Yeah, you'd feel really bad, and I mean,
you're looking for the nearest window,
yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. The thing about it, I know Pletcher's not really all that great on the grass, but still 20%. I mean, he's still not. I mean, he's not. It's not like he's not Bob Baffert on the turf. He's actually pretty reasonable on the turf. He's not bad. He's just not what he is on the dirt. And improving horses. Manny Franco's actually riding pretty well. So that's a horse I wouldn't leave out. The horse I would be most likely to leave out is the 9. But given that it's a doable all ticket, so I would probably do it.
Yeah, because you never know. You get a nice 20 on the winner.
Yeah, and that may be the one horse that makes it pay $1.50. And you'd feel
you've seen that before.
You'd feel pretty crappy if you went 7 deep. If you went 7 deep and you saved what, $4 or $6, and it cost you $150. Are you kidding? You'd be looking for the nearest. You'd be looking for the nearest bridge.
Happened before, so
trying to avoid those mistakes. And honestly, it will happen again.
Give me 1 second here, and I'm putting in all the A picks.
Yeah. Certainly, we can talk fantasy football if you want.
There's a list of 300 guys. I'm shocked. Quarterback 1, RB1, RB2, and go. But at least I have enough players to name. It's funny because the draft we have to go to the front and take the name. He has the whole list. Like a kit. Oh. So you pick your name, you put it on your team.
Oh, so it's a live draft, like all of you are in the same room?
Yeah, it's a live draft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot better.
We drink.
I would love. I'd love to do that, but I don't know that I could ever find 12 guys.
Yeah, it's a bunch of friends that know each other for many years, and I joined them.
Yeah.
So one shot. Go there.
Yeah.
Last year got stuck with who? Todd Gurley. Thank you very much. Take the money away.
and you're talking to a Rams fan, so
I know, but he did nothing last year. Not worth his pick.
it wasn't. He was well, yeah. He would have been an okay pick if you picked him in the 4th round, just not in the 1st.
Yeah. Also want to mention the 9th race. If I get mentioned, Mo Maverick, 10-1. Good pepper and lamplighter. George Weaver's been hot, so I'll play him too. Mo Maverick. 7.
You ain't beating bricks and mortar. I'm sorry.
I know it's tough. Yeah. I probably play another pick 4, swing with 4 with bricks and mortar, and then go with the same sequence with the other horses.
Yeah, I was very impressed. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Twice.
I don't know that he's good enough to be in the Breeders' Cup Mile, but that last quarter in that last race was really impressive. I mean, I was blown away. No, it's for 3-year-olds, right? It's not a juvenile.
Oh, this horse? What?
Yeah, race 9.
You're right.
Race 9 is for 3-year-olds. He's not in the juvenile race.
Oh, my mistake.
All right. Can you guys see the tickets over?
Yep.
All right, let me get this last card down here.
And thank you to Rich for using his old computer and getting our PPs.
Oh, do you remember what the 3-year-old did in the Turf Classic many years ago? Manila.
Was a mile. Yeah, that's the 1.5 miles.
Yeah. No, he won. 3-year-old beat all the horses.
Bricks and mortar would be in the mile.
Yeah.
I remember at the winner's circle, he says a supplemented 3-year-old Manila.
All right.
Yeah.
So Ray, you're up on the top. Red Ray this week. Joe, you're in the black type too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back in Dodger blue. And let's see.
I like being in the black.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm. And multiple reasons.
Right.
Except when it's 105 degrees, like it's been out here the last week. Anyway.
I got news for you. Currently 65 degrees.
Shut up. We haven't seen 65 degrees in about, I don't know. What was it, April?
Long sleeve.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But Ray, I also know what that leads to.
Which one of these in the first leg? Which one of these horses is your top pick out of the 9 and the 3? Because the 4's in. The 4's on the top for me and Joe.
Oh, me 9.
9.
Yeah, 9. 9 through 4. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put the 3.
Oh boy.
Man, we win this week. We're gonna rest the Breeders' Cup to go the money and just make one big ticket.
I don't know. Well, believe me, you could
14 by 12 by 9.
Ray, we could win this week and lose money. I'm telling you, it's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
So I wouldn't say anything about whether we win. If we win this week and we lose money, I'm not going to be crowing about it. That's for damn sure.
All right. In leg number 2, once again, the
we should
4
play
is in.
one $1 ticket. 4?
Hang on. The 4 is in for sure. And it looks like we got the 1 and the 3. Let's just look at 1.
And
3,
4. The last one is
4.
Mm-hmm.
War flag.
I don't think we left anybody out, right? We got 1 brief. We got all 3 lines covered.
No, we don't. The 5 is only on my ticket, so Rich, you could.
I can't see.
Oh, you can't see, right?
I see Joe's face.
Sorry. I apologize in advance.
I
want to see numbers. I don't want to see it. No.
There you go. Now you can see my keyboard. Is that better?
Yeah. Okay. JKL.
Exactly. Go back to typing class.
Joe,
ASDF. Sorry.
And Joe, are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, I see. I can see it. I see it just.
Yeah, fine. All I see is Joe's little window with his typewriter up there. Like that.
Yeah. Because Ray complained about
the big screen. In the big screen, I see Joe's keyboard. That's weird.
Oh. That is weird.
Come on back. There's Joe's. I see him for a second. I have no idea what the hell going on with Joe's keyboard then.
There we go.
No, because I just pointed my camera at the keyboard.
Oh,
Now I see you, Rich.
That's all.
There we go. Okay, I got it.
there we go.
Wait, can I maneuver my screen like to different windows? Oh,
All right.
I learned something new today.
So we
Okay.
got 1, 3, 4, and Joe, we'll have your 5 sitting
Yeah,
out
we
just
can,
like
yeah, we can
before.
leave it for now.
And let's see here. We got in leg number 2. Let's see. We got the 2, 2. Ray, is your top pick the 2? So we got 2, 1. Let's turn that off. Yeah. This is Gunrunner. Right? So I will move him down just temporarily. Like that. And in our last leg.
I would say 2, yeah, but I do like the elliptic. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got these are the loan. These are still A picks that are down here. We'll just see if we have how much room we have at the end. And in this last week we got 8-7. Joe 8-7. I've got 8-7. So 8-7 is in there for sure. Yeah, I've got 2, 3, 4. Ray, you've got 2, 3, 4. 6.
Right, yeah.
No. See, that ticket is $18 currently.
With 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, with all of them.
6, 7, 8. Oh, with all of them.
With all of them, yeah, it's 2 by 3 by 6. If we're singling gun run,
Okay.
That would be an $18 ticket.
And that takes care of all of these. Like we made right on the same forces. Yeah. Okay. Great. And this is you're saying 18?
18.
2 times 3 times.
Oh yeah, 6 and 3, yeah.
Now, if we put them all in, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. If we put them all in, we put the 3, the 5, and the 1 in their respective races, the ticket becomes 48. I don't have a problem with that amount. I just have a problem with what it might pay.
Yeah. And especially
48.
Yeah, well, especially since the 48 would include this one, the one which this will be the double, right? Because we'd be doubling up in the gun runner race and all like that.
Because yeah, it would be 3 by 2. It would be 2 by 3 by 4 by 6. Actually, I'm sorry, it'd be 72. My apologies, that's wrong.
Double.
Yeah.
72.
Okay. Yeah. 72.
So it'd be multiplying it by 4. Because the 2 by 3 is 6 by 4 is 24.
Okay,
well, 6 is 144. So it's 72.
In the first leg, you got 2 of us that singled. You and I were both on bricks and mortar.
Right.
And then we got that. We've got Ray with you. You get the backup pick in there. In the second leg, we've got 3 of them. And this horse worries me a little bit when you started talking about that one, the 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think the gun runner he's had Neolithic covered more than once before. I don't want to talk him into the winner's circle, but as far as doubling the ticket.
But yeah.
What I often think is I'm more comfortable going deeper in this last race than I am in.
But let me just put another thing out there. If we leave Neolithic off, we put the other 2 in, the ticket becomes I'm thinking 36. It'd be 3 by 4. 3 by 4 by 6. 3 by 4 is 12. By 6 is 72.
So $36.
That'd be
12
36.
times 9.
No, not 12 times 6.
Yeah.
6
times 4.
Oh, wait a minute.
36, yeah.
12 times 6 is 72.
Wait a minute, maybe 3
So $36.
by 4, which is 12, by 6, which is 7. Yeah, 72, so it'd be 36. So if we put in the 3 in leg 1 and the 5 in leg 2, single gun runner. And then basically we're doubling the ticket by putting 1 extra horse in each leg, as opposed to doubling it by putting Neolithic. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. We can stay with it as it is, or we can put those other 2 up and make it 36.
I'll throw out my opinion is that it's a light paying ticket, or it's a chalky ticket this week. That was just that was my opinion as to what I saw.
That's what I was thinking also, Rich. To me, the toughest leg in this instance is leg 1. Because they're to me it's not the toughest leg. I think the 4 is going to win, but
yeah,
I could stay with it with 8. Like I said, we can do 18, or we can double it. We can double it by putting in the 3 and the 5, make it 36. But I'm more inclined to stay with the 18, even though we said we would start doing we'd be a little bit more aggressive just in case things like this happen.
Yeah, that first leg is kind of although the 4 looks really, really good.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's he's a single on my ticket, so that's why I wouldn't really want to go any deeper than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And knowing, I always look to the racing form, so I knew I kind of knew I had Gunrunner almost as a closer, so I knew I already had a single. So I was surprised that I came up to the single in the first race and like that. I wanted to go deeper. I just happened to like that. I won money on him in that race. I agreed with what Joe said. I like Joe's analysis. He looked very good in that race, and he looked every bit like he was a horse who wanted to go a little bit further too.
Yeah, it's funny because that's when I was watching. That's kind of why. I mean, I got turned on to XBTV, and I started watching more of their videos. And oddly enough, there was a video with, like I said, Migliori and Chad Brown talking about this horse specifically. And he was saying, he was like, because Richie asked him, he's like, well, how long do you think he can go? And he was like, well, he says with young horses like this, we try to take it a furlong at a time or a segment at a time. And he was fine at a mile and a 16th. We're trying a mile and an 1/8, and if this goes well, we'll see. Well, maybe we'll try a mile and a quarter eventually. But yeah, no, he looked fantastic that day. And if he's training anywhere near, and Chad Brown is as confident as he looked, I don't see any reason to go any deeper in that leg. But then again, that's why we have this is a democracy, and we have 3 of us.
Yeah.
So if we want to stay with the 18, we're cool.
I'm good with it. Like I said, I think this week is just an exception to the rule.
Yeah, we got.
How about if we decide the 5 and leg 2, which you make a good case for?
Oh, okay. How about that, Joe?
I mean, it's fine by me. That would just make the ticket 24, so it's an extra 6.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've had trouble in second legs.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
history. So
true. Yeah.
And like I said, I like your analysis on that. On that horse. These are young horses. That horse did not try. The speed did not reflect a horse that tried anyway, especially with the race cars circled wide, drew off. So there we go.
Yeah,
9-4.
And generally, to me, I always think that speed figures earned at Delaware are always a little bit lower. Whether it's because of the surface being more tiring or it's the quality of the horses down there. I'm not exactly sure. To me, like I said, I always perk up when I see a horse that's coming out of a Delaware race, especially trying something, Grand Motion, he gets Javier Castellano. It's a horse that if I got beat by, I would be aggravated about getting beat by.
All right.
Okay, so it's 20. So it's 24, 4, 9, 1, 3, 4, 5, singling, Gunrunner, and 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And Rich, I agree with you. I think this pick 4 is going to pay $40, or it's going to pay $4,000 because Gunrunner gets beat.
Yeah. Okay.
But we also did, like you're saying, we also got 2 5-horse grade 1s, which normally doesn't happen. Which kind of.
And the other side of it that I'll just bring this up is and we could also get just a little bit like we got over here on Pacific Classic Day or anything else wherein we get an in between pick 4. We actually have a lot of coverage in that last race. We've got some coverage in the race in the spin-away. So we've got 4 coverage, 4 deep there and things like that. You can get the chalk in the other 2 races. We can actually hit the chalk in the other 2 races. And if we get 6-1s or 8-1s, Saratoga being what it is with all that dead money and things like that, I'm sure we'll still see a nice little profit.
It would be exactly like last week's ticket because last week's ticket we had Drafong win at 3-5,
Yep.
And who's the
Yeah,
other
you get a
horse?
couple $100. Yeah.
Who's the horse that won?
I don't know if
Practical
it's a
Joke was
guarantee,
two.
but
Practical Joke was 2 to 1.
2 to
He was
1.
a code 2 to 1 favorite.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And Drefong won easily at 3 to 5. So yeah, but the other two horses, I mean, West Coast paid 6 to 1, and Saratoga paid 7 to 1. Well, because you had to. Because you had to.
Yeah, of course. You know.
I mean, if you trusted Baffert, I guess you really didn't have to if you trusted Baffert, but
yeah,
but he wasn't. He was.
But there's some big payouts out there.
Yeah. I think next year's Baffert's horse is going to go off at the favorite, whoever it is. It doesn't make any difference. It's just the bell curve. Arrogant was 11 to 1, so he's up here, and now West Coast is like 6. He's to 1. Now next year, this horse is going to go off at like 5 to 2. So, but it was a very nice performance by West Coast, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. And it's funny, Rich, you mentioned.
My wife said, how come that jockey's not dirty? The horse, how come the horse is so clean? That's just because he was in front all the way.
Exactly. Because no kickback. No kickback.
The other horse came back filthy. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was funny.
Yeah. It's funny, Rich, you mentioned Gunrunner being the best older horse, and I just don't want you to forget Collected.
No. Thanks for reminding me, actually.
And the thing about it is this race is going to be on a track that we know Collected likes to run on. So even if Gunrunner happens to show up and he wins this race, and if he has one more prep and wins the prep, I mean, I don't know. To me, it's kind of hard to bet against Collected the way he ran over this track.
Well, and I'll let you. I'll let you know. They're kind of like my co-favorites. Now, Collected's been out here on the West Coast. If you go back and watch the show and things like that, I was the one that was on Collected to beat Arrogate. So. All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we'll be back next week because that's what the Three Broke Guys do. We're going to get together to take a look at another exciting card. This time I'll say, weather willing, we are going to be heading over to Franklin, Kentucky, to Kentucky Downs. They have their big card of the year, and so we'll be over at Kentucky Downs. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It is always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
It's fun.
Yes.
Always look forward to it.
My little computer made it all the way through this one. I'm proud of you.
Absolutely. Yahoo!
Oh, right.
For those of you for Joe English and for Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.
Good night.